welcome to New Ford Tech Live. This is our third episode, and we're here with Rockland Community College Ford ASSET instructor and a couple other people. I'll be your host, Rachel Perez, along with my co-host, Tony Farr. So let's move on to Blake. Blake, will you give us a Rockland overview of the community college?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Rachel, and thank you, everyone. And thanks, everyone, for attending today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that I'm going to be able to provide some answers for you in respect to Rockland Community College and the ASSET program offered there. Like Rachel said, we're also going to be taking questions from the chat, but I myself will do my best to try to answer some common questions that we think that you might have on your mind. So what we're going to start with is my name. My name is Blake Terry, and I am the Ford ASSET instructor and program coordinator at Rockland Community College. So the first question that I have is, what makes Rockland Community College special? Well, the main thing that makes Rockland Community special is why we're here, and that is because we have the Ford ASSET program. This program at Rockland Community College services the tri-state area. So the next closest ASSET program is going to be hours and hours away. So being very local to the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, we can service those areas. So that is very unique to RCC. And that being said, we do have dorm opportunities available to those of you who might be in the New Jersey, Connecticut, or even New York areas. Why would a parent maybe want to send their child to Rockland Community College? So the first thing on everyone's mind is obviously going to be cost, right? The number that I like to provide to all of my New York State residents is $13,000. Now that is the total cost of tuition for a 2-year program. And I'm going to get into more of that. I may cover topics several times throughout this live stream, and we may overlap a few things, but they all tie in together. So the cost of schooling for an in-state New York State is going to be around $13,000, and that is for the full 2-year degree. Okay. Another perk, right, of sending a potential student to RCC is that we have very small class sizes. Okay, so the maximum capacity of a Ford ASSET class is 20 students. I myself will be the sole instructor for those 20 students for the next 2 years. I am their only automotive instructor, and I will fully 100% certify the students in all of the Ford curriculum in 9 specialties. Okay, that being said, that means you will also have a career and a job prior to graduation. You will be working along the way, and I'm going to get into that as well. Again, the other thing is that we have this associate's degree. You can use these college credits that you earn during your time in the Ford ASSET program at Rockland Community College and transfer those to a 4-year degree, and you can earn a bachelor's degree, move up. There's earning potential there. For students, one of the huge perks of the Ford ASSET program is that you get to work with the manufacturers and dealers that keep us up to date with industry standards. You will also perform a work co-op during your work internship. That being said, this work placement and sponsorship, you will have a partnership with a local dealer. So a student coming into Rockland Community College, they're going to register for a 2-year program. Okay, the first 8 weeks of every semester, the student is going to be with me. Okay, they're going to be in class in our 27,000 square foot automotive facility. The first 8 weeks, they're going to get hands-on training with me. Okay, so that's going to be all of the Ford curriculum, Ford vehicles, there's going to be Ford workstations. Everything is supplied by Ford. That's the first 8 weeks. You get to learn. The second 8 weeks of a semester, you're actually going to go out into a local participating Ford dealership and work and shadow underneath a senior master or current master technician. So you really get to apply those skills that you learned in school with me in a real world work environment. And that's a huge plus to the ASSET program, is really this mentorship that you get with your Ford dealer. And that is huge. Not only do you get this mentorship, but you get paid to go through this mentorship. And that's quite rare. So being able to work with all of these new cars and being able to shadow a master technician, getting paid to go to school, getting that mentorship. On top of all of that, we also have scholarships. So not only does Ford offer scholarships through Rockland Community College, but we also have an Excelsior scholarship as well. So there is financial aid available. I would say anyone who has an interest in cars, right? If you are a true car guy or a car girl and you're really into cars, this program is for you. There's something really special about graduating with manufacturer certifications, right? Instead of just graduating with an automotive degree, which is great, you're also graduating with manufacturer recognized certifications. So you can take those certifications to any Ford dealer anywhere. If you like technology, that's why this program is an automotive technology program. We're not really referred to as mechanics anymore, right? We are technicians. So yes, we see hybrid cars, electric cars. We have upwards of 30, 40 modules in cars with network communications. Technology and computers is now, it's present. So you will be learning this really high-end tech skills in the ASSET program.
Absolutely. So we start out at the grassroots level, at the high school level, working with the BOCES programs, and they have a small portion of it's called an ACE program, where they can do some online classes with their BOCES instructors. So we start with them and internships with some of those students that qualify for internships. So after they graduate from there, we try and get them to swing over into the Ford ASSET program, because that's really the best way and the fastest way to get people trained by the manufacturer. And, you know, as Blake mentions, it's a very inexpensive 2-year program in the grand scheme of things, and you're co-oping while you're doing it, and you have a job. I mean, if you have good work ethic, there's no problem, and you will have a job, whether it's at your sponsoring dealership or another Ford or Lincoln dealership anywhere in the country. They're happy and usually welcome ASSET students with open arms, because they know they have all the training behind them. And, you know, Ford is probably one of the best manufacturers to get your training with, because they offer a full lineup. Not only do they offer passenger vehicles and cars and SUVs, but they do a tremendous amount of commercial and big truck work as well. So we cater to businesses as well as fleet companies, as well as, you know, individuals buying cars. So the shop is full of work usually all the time. We have had technicians that decide they don't want to turn wrenches anymore, and they've expressed some interest in working in the parts department, or they wanted to become service advisors. And all of this is good to help communicate with the technicians and with customers, you know, that come and drop their vehicles off for service. So it's a great foundation to do other things. They've even gone into sales as well. But, you know, the sky's the limit, and, you know, we're happy to progress people up through the dealership. And what we try and do in the beginning, they are working on light maintenance and repairs and recalls, and trying to get themselves acclimated to the dealership and the dealership's processes and procedures. And then as they move through these specialties with their training, then they're paired with a master technician, and they're working on those type of foundational skills that they're working on with Blake, so that when they go back for the next curriculum in the next following 8 weeks, you know, they're going to come back out and work on steering and suspension, if that's what Blake is teaching that semester. So we find it works very well to pair them up. And, you know, once they've been paired up for a while, then they're kind of on their own with their work, and, you know, as the work is dispatched to them. So, I mean, we love the ASSET students, and, you know, And when they disappear for 8 weeks and they're back with Blake, they're surely missed. And, we can't wait for them to get back. And they're very enthusiastic and eager to learn and get busy.
After I graduated from the ASSET program, I worked full-time at Schultz Ford. And I used every single information I learned. I went to the parts department, made everything easier to work there. Also, I went to the service supervisor job, and everything I learned, it makes it a lot easier to do what you have to do. Everything that the ASSET program is the same thing as what RCC is doing. It really helps you do your job. Every skill that you learn is exactly what you're doing in the field. And it's really good.
My son just graduated from a Ford ASSET program here in southern New Jersey, near Philadelphia, where I live. Some background on my son: he was not interested in a traditional classroom type setting. Did okay in high school, but just didn't like the idea of staring down the barrel of another 4 years in a traditional school. It quite honestly just would have been money and time wasted. But we decided to go with Ford ASSET for a few reasons. First of which, ASSET doesn't really assume any prior knowledge at all. So we took him, had a genuine interest in cars, but had no experience with cars, which I was a little bit concerned with, but that proved to not be an issue because, as Blake had said a couple times, ASSET assumes no knowledge of anything. They teach you everything from soup to nuts on the vehicle, from safety, tool safety, how to set up a lift correctly, all the way to advanced diagnostic techniques. So you learn literally everything. So fast forward 2 years, and my son now has most of his Ford credentials. I think he has 9 of the, help me out here, 10 Ford certifications. He has most of the Ford certifications, about 95%. He's fully employed. He makes a very nice salary. Very, very good for someone's 20 years old, quite frankly. The job opportunity is absolutely tremendous. He's now talking about continuing his education because all of the credits that he earned in ASSET are now fully transferable to a 4-year university. So he's talking about now continuing going to school, either part-time or online, while he's working in the dealer, so he can earn a nice salary in the dealer, gain valuable work experience, and then move up after graduation from the 4-year school, either to a corporate level job or in the dealership world, as part of the management team. So to summarize, as a parent, I liked ASSET because it's inexpensive, as I mentioned. And I'm not going to name them by name, of course, but some of the private technical schools are 2 or sometimes 3 times more expensive than the ASSET school that we sent him through. There's abundant job opportunities. As a parent, I like the fact that there was certainly portability with this program. Compared to other possible manufacturer programs, Ford has a lot of dealers across the country. Working for Ford and dealing with some of the ASSET students and dealers, the Ford training itself is some of the most sought after in the industry, particularly, specifically in the electrical and the electronics. Ford's pretty cutting edge on their electrical and electronics. Most other manufacturers are at least 3 to 5 years behind where Ford is today on electronics.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I work quite often with dealers that aren't just Ford, but everything else, and the Ford technicians definitely tend to have keen minds. Our training's fairly advanced compared to other OEMs. I've done a lot of training for other OEMs before I had my career with Ford, and it is definitely some of the more intense but more well-rounded training in the industry. And kind of to John's point, Ford's one of the largest fleets in the U.S. We sell more trucks to any other fleet than anybody else, and techs are in demand.
Ford also starts this curriculum at the high school level. So we have participating high schools that implement what is called the ACE program. And that ACE program, those credentials transfer up into the ASSET program. So I have several ACE students coming out of high school who have a ton of their web-based training completed already. And that just alleviates a lot of workload for incoming freshmen. Ford Asset at RCC, it's a 2-year program. You graduate with an Associates of Applied Science in Automotive Technology, as well as 100% Ford Master Certified at the end of 2 years. You get paid to go to school, okay? You get hands-on work experience, 100% placement rate, okay? You are required to work at a Ford dealership, so there's no worries, you will be working, it's required. Starts September 1st, 16 seats available. My contact information is there, so please reach out to me.
Yep, that's all part of New Ford Tech and becoming a New Ford Tech, really. So we have all that information even over at newfordtech.com on all of our programs, and then also on our social media pages just to stay active. We put up fun stuff, and we talk about our ACE program and our asset program all under that umbrella.